Welcome everybody to our monthly meeting. I'm Elizabeth Hargrave. I am the president of MAWDC. And tonight I'm going to spend a few minutes doing some club news and some fungi in the news. Mitch is going to do a virtual ID table with pictures that folks have sent him. You can send your mushroom pictures always to the email address forays@mawdc.org. That gets to Mitch. Tom McCoy is going to do a short presentation on orchids and their relationships with fungi. And then Eleanor Shabbat, I am super excited about this because I have seen the pictures on her first few slides. She's going to be talking about mushroom fossils in amber and copal. Upcoming programs after tonight. So this is the Northeast Consortium that was in the poll. We are one of many clubs that is in this group that formed during the pandemic when everyone's meetings were online and sort of realized that we could be sharing speakers across clubs. So we have continued to do our monthly meeting, but very recently we have also joined this consortium, which gives us the ability to send links to these presentations out to all of our members. So if you are a member of MAWDC, you should get emails periodically that tell you which of these presentations are coming up. And then there's a members only page on our website where you can access the links to the upcoming presentations and also to the recordings of past presentations. And I think I have another slide where I've got the more info about how the website works. So coming up, Catherine, I forget how you say her last name, Amy, is going to talk about the dark fungi, meaning the fungi that have not been described to science yet, which we think is probably the majority of fungi species in the world. Sigrid Jacobs is going to be talking about an introduction to DNA sequencing. Those of you that have been coming to each monthly meeting have heard that we as a club have started doing some of our own DNA sequencing and planning to do more going into the future, sort of helping us nail down some of the species that we're seeing in our area. John Harper is trying to put together a program for next month, the first Tuesday in June, that's going to sort of piggyback on that presentation by Sigrid Jacobs. So you could watch that one and sort of get the background on how DNA sequencing works. And then hopefully we'll have some stuff lined up about what we've been doing as a club and other things that that sort of relate to DNA sequencing and what we've got going on. And then there's a couple of the Northeast Consortium meetings for June have already been scheduled. Someone's going to talk about hepaloma, and someone else is going to talk about other molecular biology stuff. So all of our meetings are available online on YouTube after the fact if you ever want to go catch up on recordings. There are a few speakers who don't want their things available publicly, actually including tonight, so we may make them available just to members for a little while and then take them down, but most of our past meetings are up and available for you to look through. And as I said, if you are a member of MAWDC and if you log in as a member on our website, you will have access to this separate page under the activities tab on our page that's called consortium presentations, and that will give you links to past consortium YouTubes. They are not publicly listed on YouTube, but if you go through our page you can get to all of them. So
Elizabeth, could you talk to how we can renew our membership online real quickly, maybe Zelle money or whatever? Because I think mine's lapsed and I'm not quite sure how to do that the most efficient way.
Probably to just go to the join tab on the website and just join again. If you want to like figure out whatever happened to your old membership and sort of link them together, I would say email Tom Moore, who's our membership chair, and you can just reach him at membership@mawdc.org.
And you should be able to just log into the website and it would probably tell you, you know, oh, you've lapsed, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So it might walk you through it if you just log in.
It may recognize your email address if you're still using the same email.
Yeah, it's better not to rejoin, because then you end up with two profiles in the system, and one of them needs to be cleared. So the better thing is, if it doesn't do that, to just contact Tom Moore and have him walk you through it, or have him tell you how to pay.
Yep.
No problem. Thank you.
Some other dates coming up. The Smithsonian Folklife Festival runs across 2 weeks. In the first week, they are going to have fungi table, a little area. Someone's going to have these really cool terrariums that she makes with dried mushrooms in them. We're going to ask people to be bringing in mushrooms to ID and have on display there. And some other things in the work, some cooking demonstrations. Jared Urchuk's going to talk about medicinal mushrooms at some point. Anyway, this will be part of a larger track about sort of earth optimism, and it should be pretty cool. We're going to have a bunch of volunteers. If you are interested in participating, let me know. You can reach me at info@mawdc.org, or you can just come out and check out the whole festival. July 4th, we have reserved a pavilion at Greenbelt Park and are going to do a picnic that April is organizing. So stay tuned for more on that. We will be wanting people to bring food and to help grill while we're there. Should be fun. September, Labor Day weekend, we've got our weekend-long foray in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. We have not started signups for that or anything, but save the date. And then at the end of September, beginning of October, the North American Mycological Association has its multi-day foray in Missouri this year. It goes to a different location every year. And Connie Durnan, our NAMA rep, just let me know that registration is now open for that. So if you want to go to a big national foray with lots of exciting mycology people, first, you need to be a member of NAMA, so you can join at namyco.org, and then you can register for the foray. And then October 16th is our annual event at Brookside Gardens, which is a big mushroom fair. Have people bring up mushrooms, fun stuff. Always get lots of people who are just randomly at Brookside Gardens for the day who come check out the mushrooms, which is really fun. This past weekend, we participated in the City Nature Challenge. We had a bunch of forays go out. This is not a super productive time for mushrooms, time of the year, but we did report 80 species within the group that is MAW members. We had 80 species reported and 145 different mushroom observations. Which also got me to look at what's our all-time total right now within the MAW group on iNaturalist. We've got over 16,000 observations and over 1,000 species just within sort of the area that we delineated as places that MAW does forays. So it goes pretty far west out to the mountains and most of Maryland and Northern Virginia. And of course, DC. So I made a little bit.ly link to get to the iNaturalist project for MAW because it's long, the actual email or URL, but if you do MAWDC iNat, bit.ly MAWDC iNat, go check that out. There's a lot of cool pictures, including these ovoids that Annie just found. All right, some in the news stuff that people have sent me. This article got all of this like popular press about how fungi talk to each other, which I think is probably overstating the case, but I thought I would include it. So this computer scientist hooked a bunch of fungi up to electrical wires and measured the electrical impulses that the mushrooms were creating. And then he did a linguistic analysis of the electrical impulses that different mushroom species make, and decided that a typical mushroom species has like 50 words that are sort of patterns of electrical impulses that they make. So their electrical impulses seem to not be total chaos. They have some organization to them. And the popular press took this as saying that mushrooms have a vocabulary of 50 words, which is probably overstating what they were trying to say. But it is kind of an interesting project. It didn't appear to have any mycologists involved in it. It's just this computer science guy. So take it for what you will. This is an interesting project. So I had heard before that we know that Trichaptum is a mushroom species that has a lot of different, what people call genders sometimes. There's a great presentation that Megan did a couple years ago now, I think, on mushroom sex. That's on our YouTube page. And she goes into much more detail about this. But when people use the term gender to talk about mushrooms, it's the fact that to actually have sexual reproduction in a mushroom, you need 2 different mating types, spores of 2 different mating types, which some people call gender within the mushrooms. And some mushrooms have many more than 2 mating types. And Trichaptum has like 17,000 plus mating types. And DNA, they had never done the DNA sequences of the actual part of the genome that relates to all these different mating types, because it was just like, it's going to be super expensive to do it. And apparently now the cost of DNA sequencing has come down enough that someone decided that this would be a cool project. And so now they have sequenced and actually like figured out what's going on in the genome that causes, like, where the information is that creates these different mating types, 17,000 of them. So that was in the news in the last month or so. This was just in the New York Times the other day. A pair of Danish brothers think they have figured out how to cultivate morels cost effectively. This says that they think the cost would be the same as producing a white button mushroom with their methodology. And they've started doing hundreds of pounds a year in their little morel farm, which looks pretty cool. So stay tuned on that. The article did say that people had figured it out once before how to cultivate mushroom morels, but they were just the process was very expensive and labor intensive. And so this may be a breakthrough. We'll see if it actually is replicable. This is just a fun podcast. If you want to check it out, it's an hour-long show that the PLOS did with a bunch of cool mushroom people, Paul Stamets, Merlin Sheldrake, some culinary people, someone making lampshades out of mycelium, all kinds of stuff. So that was fun. And then last but not least, this is not actually about mushrooms, but I feel like we as a club like to do some tick education every year. It is tick season, and there are multiple tick-borne illnesses in our area that you should be worried about and protect yourself from ticks because of them. Everyone, I think, knows about Lyme disease because lots of people in our area get it. But the Post also just did this article about this red meat allergy that is carried by a different tick from the Lyme disease tick. It is this one with the little white dot in the middle of it. So it's called the Lone Star tick. And it has the ability to inject you with a protein called alpha-gal, or maybe sugars called alpha-gal, that will sensitize your body to red meat and make you allergic to it, which is no fun. And I know at least a couple of people in our club have this allergy now. You'd rather not. So my favorite way to protect against ticks is just spraying my ankles with insect repellent. That's pretty effective. I also sometimes will soak stuff in permethrin. But definitely be aware of ticks, especially if you're going off trail. They get much worse when you're off trail. And a lot of us are doing that when we're foraging. So be careful. And that is all I have. So I will turn things over to Mitch